Welcome, Beach Faithful, to another episode of Coaches and Coffee. We got our golf coaches here with us today. We got Joey Cerulle, and hopefully soon Michael Wilson will be joining us. But we're going to turn it over here real quick to Joey Cerulle. Coach, can you give us a state and just an update of your department and what you guys have been doing lately?
Trying to play some golf now that we got some golf courses open, which is great. Facility, which you can see behind me, I wish it was live, is at its peak shape. Man, you give that place a month and a half in the growing season with nobody playing on it and nobody using it. It looks absolutely amazing right now at El Dorado, and our players are very excited to get back out and start practicing. Which they're able to with golf courses opening up under the conditions of COVID. They can go back there, and since it's kind of an outdoor park, it's a leisure activity. We easily have room to keep ourselves distanced apart from one another and stay safe, and yet still continue to practice the game that we love. Getting back out in the golf course is our next agenda, to be able to go out and compete when we can. We're trying to find some events that people were willing to host over the summer to continue to stay sharp and be ready. We remain very optimistic, just like Andy is with all of us, and he's super positive all the time. We're taking that same role right now with our programs and trying to make sure that we are ready, that when we get the call come late August and school has started, we will be ready to go out and defend the beach, essentially, out on the golf course. So we will go out and play to our best of ability, and the fact that we've got a place like El Dorado to go practice right now is huge.
Coach, can you tell us about your seniors? So their season was cut real short. Can you tell us if they're coming back or if they've decided to move on to careers and things outside of the beach?
Yeah, we had three absolutely amazing seniors this year. Probably the best class that we've ever had, kind of the three-headed dragon, so to speak. But they had an opportunity to do something extremely special this year and win a third Big West title, which we were planning on hosting until all this headed down. And we were in position again to do that, since we were hosting it and we felt like we were the best team by far in the Big West, especially in the spring, because we were running on all cylinders. And we're in Tucson on Tuesday, and we fly home, and there's all sorts of things flying in the air. And Wednesday we take our day off and just kind of sit back and see what's happening. And come Thursday of that week, it's everybody in the room. Instead of a practice, we had a team meeting and said, season's over. And the seniors did not take that lightly. They were pretty upset about everything and felt like they had a lot left to prove and a lot left in the tank to get things going. So I am happy to announce that two of the three seniors will be returning for the 2021 season. Both Holland Shorts and Maria Davis will return. And at the time when they ended, they were the number 2 and number 3 players in the Big West. And they will be back with us. Unfortunately, Una Pak will not be able to come back with us. And it's okay. Una has a lot of years under her belt. She took a gap year before she got here, and it was a fifth year senior this year to begin with. So there's many years after high school for her. She is going to enter the career field, and it made the most sense for her to do that after a lot of long discussions. And she was willing to come back. We just it didn't fit right for what's right for her individually to do it. But she will still be a part of what we do. And then, I'd encourage all of you as well. We are trying to do something great for our seniors as soon as we can get back together, to give them kind of a proper thank you that we would have normally had at the end of this year. We're going to do it early and do it as a kind of a kickoff and a thank you to our seniors that we've got. So 2 of the 3, and we're excited to have those back.
So, Coach, you mentioned that you're getting your seniors back. You've got a solid team coming back for next season. So can you give us a 2021 preview, assuming that we're all able to get back out on the course like we'd like to?
Preview is going to be interesting this year. We have not only do we have two amazing seniors coming back that are already proven that they're one of the best in the conference. We have probably the best recruit on paper we've ever had coming in as a freshman. Angelina Kim is top 50 in the world. She's a local kid from LA, is very good friends with a few of our current players already. And she brings insta credibility as far as a freshman goes to be in the line for freshman of the year next year. So not only do we have a chance to be player of the year, we have a chance to be freshman of the year as well. She actually qualified for an LPGA event and has already played at the highest level. Chose the beach because of the exposure she's going to get individually right now with us. Loves the atmosphere, and she's going to push us to make us better as well, which is huge. So with 4/5 of the returning team that was already going to win a title, we think, returning, and an amazing freshman coming in with a really good bench on top of that, we're deep, and we look really, really good for next year, and essentially beyond from there. Downfall I have, and I guess the only sort of not so great news, I am learning today that we may not be able to host Big West this year, that they may stay with the rotation that they're currently at and then put us back in either next year or the year after that to be able to host. And that's just because of contracts with golf courses and things. But we're fighting. It's not dead yet. We might still be able to host this year, but things right now don't look great on that. So I get to meet the new commissioner soon, and hopefully we'll have a great conversation.
Can you tell us about any recruits that you guys might be bringing in besides the ones that you already mentioned that are going to help the program moving forward and keep everything going on track? Because you guys have been winning a lot of trophies, and hopefully we can continue to add to that. Get your office really full.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? The gold standard is always Jenny with tennis and how many titles we can win individually. I also got to have 20 years, and she's got that, and I don't. But yeah, give me another 10. We'll see how many more we can go get. But I guess I can comment on the ones that have signed already for the 20 class, and that's Angelina. We had another really good rock star that kind of just didn't work out really well, but there's still a chance that in the future she'll be around. Our 21 class isn't very deep because of kind of what we have already within our depth of the team and the roster that we have right now. And our 22 class, I can't comment on anybody specifically, but we are very ahead, and our 22 class looks really good as well. We're going to be very deep and have a very good pool of candidates there that have already reached out because of the success that we're having. We're seeing the quality of recruits go up, and now we get to really pick the ones that make the most sense to be at the beach. Hey, Michael's here. All right. Unmute yourself, Michael.
We're going to get into a few rule changes that I didn't understand or know were coming to golf, but if you could tell us a little bit about how those are going to work. You guys mentioned substitutions in college golf. What does that mean, and how is that going to affect the game of golf going forward?
Michael, that's a lot more on the men's side. You want to talk about that one?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, here we go. Yeah, there's some big rules change. It started a couple years back at Eugene Country Club during the national championship. I think it was Texas was playing in the semifinal match, I think against USC, and their top player, Bo Hostler, is a Southern California guy. He hurt himself in the round and had to withdraw for the finals the next day, and so Texas automatically took a loss. They were 1 point down to start the day. So that spurred a lot of talk about substituting players in, and the NC2A decided to make that change. The NC2A has control over the regional and the national championship. And so it's been done at that level. And then some conferences have passed it for postseason play. And then there's been talk about it being done in the regular season. So it's probably about 50-50 right now if you were to talk to coaches. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts with this. Money-wise, what that does, having additional players travel on your roster, Ranking is probably one of the biggest things. Right now, you got your head-to-heads, and it's done. How you would do that if you pulled a player from a round. If you played one round and he sat out for the second round and came back in the third round, then the tournament is kind of a wash for him. So it'd have to be round by round. But then the one of the biggest golf ranking organizations in the world, the WAGR, World Amateur Golf Ranking, they've just switched from round to round to tournaments. So that's a really important ranking system. It's how a lot of players are selected for U.S. amateurs and a number of big tournaments, amateur tournaments. So it's kind of interesting to see how that works. In my opinion, I think we already have a player subbing in. 99% of college golf tournaments are 5 count 4. There's a couple of tournaments that might be 6 count 4. But mostly you got one guy it's going to be a throwout score each day. They're going to play, the whole tournament. And so they're going to get ranked and they're going to have their head-to-heads against other players who are in the field. But it's kind of an interesting one. And then there's also field sizes. So if you say, hey, you can substitute players, what that's going to do for field sizes is probably going to reduce fields by 3 teams, and who are those 3 teams who are they going to be? It's probably it's probably not going to be a Texas or a USC. It's going to be another team. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. They're supposed to vote on it this year, and it's probably going to get pushed back. So we'll see.
Coach, can you explain a little bit about the difference in postseason play versus when you're regularly doing dual matches or you're doing a tournament? Because postseason changes a few times. The format changes as you get deeper into the tournament. So can you explain to the viewers exactly how the tournament works once you're in postseason play?
Yeah, so regular season, it's your head-to-head ranking. You got your 500 rule. Usually you got to be in the top 60 teams to advance to a regional. The regional is my favorite golf tournament. I mean, the NC2A is awesome, but the regional is great. It's 13 to 14 teams over 6 sites across the country, 2 in the East, 2 Central, and 2 in the West. And the top 5 teams, the low scores at the end of 3 rounds, advance to national championship. Everything's on the line. Everything goes back to start. College golf is getting deeper and deeper. There's more good teams, good players, good coaches than ever before. And so what we've seen the last couple of years is, it's done on an S curve there. So all the fields are essentially the same. But we've seen like teams that are like 1 through 5C get bumped and not make it. And that's happening increasingly more because of just the depth of college golf. So it's fun. It's like, hitting the shots when they matter most. That's what it's all about, and bringing it when it matters most. And so those top 5 teams go to the national championship. At the national championship, there's 3 rounds. There's a cut, and there's a 4th round, an individual champion's crown, and then the top 8 teams go into match play. And you've seen it more and more on the Golf Channel, and it's exciting. It's awesome, and it's great that viewers are able to see that, and that college golf has a platform on a national stage. And I think it should be done more of. I think it's really exciting television, and I think you're starting to see that. Coaches are pushing, and there's contracts with the Golf Channel, and certainly on the men's side where you're seeing more and more talk of that, and televised golf being shown, college golf.
Coach, before you got on, we asked Coach Cerulle about his team going forward and seniors he was bringing back. Can you give us a quick state of the department now that we've got you on?
Yeah. Right now it's quiet. Usually, national championship would be finishing up either like that, maybe today, I think, or yesterday. And then recruiting would be in full force. There's a recruiting dead period that keeps getting pushed back each month. I think it's the end of July now. But June 15th is a big day. We're able to reach out to the class of 2022. So that'll be an important one. But in terms of our guys, we've got a couple guys playing in tournaments right now in Arizona. Arizona golf is opened up. So they're hungry. They want to compete. They want to play. They haven't played, in anything since the season ended. The Lambkin Invitational was our last event. That was back in early March. And we were in team meetings. I think it was a Wednesday, right after we gotten back, and we were talking about our next tournament, which was Oregon, that we were going to leave for in a couple of weeks, and qualifying and how that was going to work, and reviewing the last tournament, going through stats of each guy. And I think we had meetings starting at 7:30 in the morning, going all the way to 5, individual ones with each player. And, in the early hours of the day, we were, going forward with things, how we usually go forward with them. And towards the end of the day, as we were kind of watching the news, it was kind of each guy's like, hey, I don't even know what the end of today is going to look like. And then by the end of the day, the NCAA made the announcement that postseason play and tournament play was going to be done. So, since that time, we've had a lot of team meetings and Zoom meetings and individual meetings, and even had the team on one evening, and we played we had a trivia night and did Long Beach State golf trivia and other trivia. And that was fun. But they finished up in the classroom. Our guys did a really, really good job in the classroom. Early reports is they got a 3.4 GPA, which was the highest men's cumulative at Long Beach State. So really proud of them there. We make a big emphasis on them achieving in the classroom. So proud of those guys. And so now they're in summertime, and there's tournaments that are opening up, not so much in California, but in other states and southeast. So our guys are looking to travel anywhere they can to go tee it up.
Coach, you stole my thunder there. I was going to mention that you guys had a nice GPA this spring, so congratulations on that. Can you tell us a little bit, and Joey, feel free to jump in on this too, how you guys and your teams were able to stay connected with their teachers, their professors, and able to continue to have the good grades that both your squads were able to show this spring?
The technology like we've got right now has been huge. The fact that we're able to zoom in and talk about, things that were needed. I got to give all the credit in the world, though, to the Bickerstaff Center and all of our great people that are there with Sandra and our counselor, Martha Grace. Did an outstanding job of staying on top of all of our players to make sure that they were still okay. Tamika Spivey did some excellent work on information for our players on how to learn online, that it was just new and different. It's a different style of learning, and we were all okay. We got them resources that they needed to be excelling into the classroom, and they did. We did really well at all. I think we're just above Michael a little bit. We're like a 3.5 as a team, but we did excellent this year. There were some really good grades across the board, especially on the women's side. I don't think we were top, and we're usually up there as well, but I think we were third at a 3.5. So I'm going to give hats off to all of our other sports teams as well that really stepped it up in the classroom this year. Think from an athletic standpoint and from our student athletes, like they want to compete in something. Well, that was kind of the one thing to be able to compete with one another is who's going to get the highest team GPA at the end of the year. So really, really good, and hats off to other teams that killed it in the classroom.
Yeah, congratulations to both of you guys. Those GPAs are much higher than mine ever were as an individual, and you guys did it as a team. So congrats on that. That's good stuff. Coach, earlier, Coach Wilson, you were mentioning golf on TV. So there was a very popular match that happened last weekend on TV. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Do you guys think that the match, as they called it, with Tiger and Phil and Peyton and Tom Brady, do you think those have a future in the PGA Tour, and that stuff will continue once the pandemic's over, or was that a one-time deal just because of the celebrity?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I think it's got a huge future, a lot of potential there. I watched both those matches. There was the one the week prior with Ricky and Wolf and Dustin and Rory, and I mean that was good. And for what it was, like not seeing golf on TV for so long, it was awesome. Seeing them carry their bags like college kids. I mean, it was pretty special, and just the camaraderie of that. But I think that they absolutely hit it out of the park. Personally, with this last one, having, I mean, four of arguably the greatest athletes of their sport. And then having the two pros from football, the two quarterbacks, them being relatable, I think, to the average golfer, and that they were, just kind of vulnerable on there. Obviously, very competitive people, but shows how hard the game is and how nervous they were on that stage. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And then I thought, they bring in their kind of camaraderie to the sport. I thought Peyton Manning and did a really good job, and it was really funny and witty on there. And Phil, obviously being Phil, and Tiger's not going to say much. He's going to play his game, how he's going to play his game, and Brady kind of was like that as well. But they all hit big shots. I was really impressed. It was great for TV, and I think the networks were probably going to be more pleased. But they raised $20 million as well. That's fantastic. So I think there's a future for it, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
On that,
so actually, yeah. So Michael, Camden, are you gonna ask, like, well, are we gonna set one up now too? Is that what we want to go for?
I think we need to get one set up, and we'll broadcast that. So if anyone has any celebrity friends that they'd like to have us bring out, we can get Beach Vision out there, and we'll broadcast the whole thing.
Michael, let's do an all LB one at Rec Park, and we'll have Goidos and Mally and O'Meara and Cassidy, like our four bigs that have played, right? We'll do it at Rec. Like, it'll just be, and we'll have the 562 come cover it. We'll just go full LB only, right?
Wow. Yeah. Solid.
I dig it. I think that's great. That's great television. So wanted to, while we were on the same vein here, Coach, who is the biggest talker on your team? I'm sure when you guys are practicing with each other and all the guys and gals are out there, I want to know from each of you, who's got a little chatter in someone's ear, making that putt just a little bit tougher on their competition.
Well, ours is the easy one. Trip Morris from Studio City, California. Yeah, he likes to talk. He likes to compete. They're all competitive, but he's not afraid to get chirpy. And he's a really good player. Just finished up his freshman year. Finished runner-up in the SCGA Amateur at Lakeside Golf Course the summer prior, and won the SCGA Match Play. And was a starter for most of our year, and I think he'll continue to have a big impact in our program.
Mine's on the call, and she's a coach. I think when Mackenzie and when you played against Hannah Coe, I think was some pretty good talking amongst one another about who was going to win.
Oh, the whole entire match was basically her and I going back and forth. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm the assistant coach. So we had a player who was injured, and I kind of had to be thrown in the lineup and play match play against basically at that time our top player in the entire lineup. And I had to get in her head early. I was 3 down through 6, and I was like, oh, boy, I'm doomed. This is going to be so embarrassing. Everyone's going to be like, she just annihilated her coach. And then through 9 holes, I got it back to all square, and I was like, this is an open game for anybody to win. And I took her all the way to 17, but I ended up losing. But it was definitely fun banter going back and forth. And she was just excited, I think, to see her coach in kind of like a different light. But it was overall just a great day on the golf course.
Mackenzie, is there much of that in actual games, or is that mostly reserved for practice?
It's mostly reserved for practice. I mean, when I was a college player, in practice is the time when you're getting super competitive, and especially in like the little games that we would play to kind of that were incentive based, or basically just kind of bragging rights, as we would call them, all the time. But when you're playing in a qualifier, you're playing in a tournament, you're pretty much even key. There's not a whole lot of trash talking or anything like that. Golf's a very respectful game, and all we want to do is go out there and play the best that we can.
All right. Coaches, I'm going to come back to you guys. I've got another question for you about the match. So we'll start with Joey. Joey, who would be the celebrity that would be paired with you? And then I'd also like to know who would be the PGA player paired with you, assuming you're the celebrity on that one. So
you want to see my disgusting golf swing on TV? That's fantastic. Like I said, it kind of brainstormed on me earlier. I just go full LB, man. And I mean, celebrity wise, for those of you who don't, I grew up in this area. I'm from Long Beach. A good, I wouldn't say friend, but a guy that I knew growing up being in the area was Aaron Hicks, who's now the starting outfielder for the New York Yankees. He played at Long Beach Wilson, and to this day, it is still the farthest golf ball I've ever seen hit at Rec Park Range. That ball's still in orbit. It's probably up there with the astronauts right now, how far he hit it as an 18-year-old. And he was a savant at both baseball and golf. So I think you get Hicks out, you get Goidos out to come back to the LB, right? And then you get some other just great guys that have come through here where you've got the Merrick brothers, you've got Tomasulo, you've got, Malley played here. You've got just guys that are local. I just love keeping the flavor in town right now and making it fun and just coming back to our roots. Whether or not we're doing it at Rec and just kind of fall back where we all grew up playing, or we go out to Hartwell and have a great skins game with one another. That's kind of my idea of super fun and just having a great time doing it. I know it's not, the large, Peyton names, but I think amongst the people here in LB, man, we'd get a kick and a love out of it.
Coach Wilson, we'll turn that over to you. What do you think?
Great answer. Very politically correct right there. Yeah. Hard to top that, but I mean, if you're playing to win, I got to take Tiger, and I think Tony Romo, that'd be a guy, if they did it again, I think that'd be a cool one to see. He can play golf, and he can chirp.
I was thinking the other day it might be good to get Tony Romo and Steph Curry out there.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Oh yeah. There you go.
So get a little chatter going. A couple other things that we had talked about that I think would be pretty interesting. Folks want to know what you guys think the best LB courses are, and let's give like a top 3 ranking of the best LB courses and where you guys would want to go out with the sticks and have a good afternoon.
So this is like a very popular conversation in van rides with our guys. It gets very heated. Best courses in Long Beach. What our guys like to do is say like, hey, hands down, Virginia Country Club is the best maintained golf course. Let's just all put them in that same category where it's maintained exactly the same, perfect conditions, perfect grass, what are the best courses, based off that, what has the best bones. I think El Dorado is really good. I think it's a really good golf course that you've got to hit it really straight off the tee. The greens are small, they're slopey. If you miss them, you got to scramble pretty good. So that's kind of, for me, like the 18-hole golf courses. I think it edges out Virginia a little bit. Like, I don't want to offend anybody. I think Virginia is amazing. Virginia's, it's right there, neck and neck with it. I think Skylinks probably falls in 3. But like for me personally, my favorite golf course in Long Beach, which is, it's not traditional par 72 golf course, but it's Hartwell. That's my favorite golf course in Long Beach. I think part of it's the history with Tiger growing up out there and a number of other players. I mean, everyone who's come through Long Beach has grown up playing Hartwell, and I've got a 2-year-old son, and we go out there. It's not far from where we live and hit balls. And, that's going to be, if he has an interest in playing the game, that's going to be a great place for him to do it, where every other Long Beach legend has come through the game playing there. It's just perfect. It develops your game inside of 150 yards, and you're going to learn all the shots that you need to be great. And I think, pace of play wise and going out there, you're going to play in less than 3 hours and you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be quick and it's a fun spot.
For some of us, it's not a par 72 out there at Hartwell, but some of us decide it's a par 72 on our own just so we can feel good about our game. Joey, can you what are your top three? Give us your power rankings.
Wow, this is for me the nostalgia and the memory lane comes down because I'm Michael's son. I grew up on all these courses, and it's where I've been all my life and all that I've really known. I'm gonna say, and it's because to me, Virginia has always been the standard of what it takes to be the absolute best at all times as far as golf goes. But I'm gonna go down memory lane, and I'm gonna kind of take a piggyback on Michael's answer here as well. I was one of those red shirts on Friday at Hartwell, and I grew up in that program. I graduated through that program, and I would not be here from where I am today without that program and the Hall of Famer Bev Brines. And what Bev did for me and for my friends that have also been in through this, she enabled all of us to be better than we actually were, and she required us to do that in a certain way, and it was absolutely amazing to do that. So to me, it is Hartwell is too, and their greens are amazing over there. It's fun to go practice. As far as my third goes, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to say the original Skylings, not the one that it is now since it's been redone. Now, I worked at Skylings for 5 years growing up in high school. It is the men's club that I joined when I was 15 and competed for titles over there growing up in high school, and it's where my high school matches were. That's where I was, and when they shut it down and they tore it up and created what it is now, it hurt a lot, and I miss the old course growing up there, knowing everything about it, from where to hit it all the times to where the putt breaks all the time. That was my childhood growing up, was the old Skylings.
All right, so there you have it, folks, from the experts here that are always on the courses in Long Beach. You've got your power rankings, so we'll be sure to get those out on some sort of social media at some point, and you can go out and play them over the summer. So, Coach, we'll go back to Coach Wilson. We get some fun stories out there. Golf's a fun game. You're out there with your buddies. It's a great time on the course. Can you give us some of your favorite stories with your team on just things that have happened while out on the golf course or in the van that you'd like to share with the viewers today?
Yeah, I mean, the van rides are great. That's what I remember most about college golf, and certainly with our guys, there's the most banter there. And I don't have anything in specific I can give you. One story I can give you, just kind of going back for me, which kind of, I was reflecting on that. I actually was going through some old boxes I still haven't unpacked, and this time's giving you that time to go through the garage and clean it out. And I found something that I had totally forgotten about, but I think it was 1996. So I was 12 years old, or 1995 possibly, so 11, 12. I grew up in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula, and the AT&T Pebble Beach used to come through town, still does. And there was a junior golf association there, and they partnered with the AT&T, and they used to have this little tournament at Peter Hay. And for anyone who knows the Monterey Peninsula, Peter Hay is a par 3 golf course, nine-hole golf course attached to Pebble Beach, just off to the side of it. And so there was pros that would play in it, and they get really big names at that time. And then the junior golfers in the area would get the caddy for them, so they'd hook a player up with a junior. And so I was lucky enough to get, I think he was the defending champ. He had won the AT&T the year before, but it was Marco Mera. And so on the first tee, I was a dink. I was just a little squirt, and he had his staff bag with him. And I remember on the first tee, Lee Trevino was right there, and he's like, "Mark, is your kid going to carry that, or is he going to sleep in that thing?" Because I was about the same size as it. And I was just so nervous, and I think he ended up taking out, a bunch of his clubs, and he had about 6 dozen golf balls in there, and he unloaded it for me to make it as light as possible. But I was I was just gassed by the end of it, just carrying around this bag that was about as big as I was. But it was pretty cool at the end of the round. I mean, he was as gracious as could be, took off his glove, signed it, said, I just posted it on my Instagram, but it was something like, "Hey, Michael, thanks for a great job. Marco Mera," and signed a couple golf balls for me and just said, "Hey, you know, work hard, chase your dreams, love the game. If you want to be great at the game, just be around it all you can." And I ate that up. I mean, that was a big part of my development, was just being on the golf course whenever I could, and loving the game and being around other players that love the game. And that's what we look for here at Long Beach State is guys that, you know, are just absolute golf junkies. And I think those are the guys that ultimately find the most success, and we're really going to connect well with them because we are as well. And you know, the best players I've been fortunate to be around, they eat it up, and they want to be on a golf course, and they love the game, and want to work as hard as they can every single day to be as good as they can possibly be. So you know, I feel like we're getting more and more of those guys in our program, and we're doing some really positive things, and we're trending in a great direction. And you know, we got a couple of seniors that are going to be returning. One of them, Hunter Epson, who's he's a Long Beach local, Wilson High School grad. And it was especially hard when we had to tell him the season was over, and then it was especially exciting when we told him that you're going to be coming back. So he and Hunter Reed will be joining us again, and we'll have 11 guys on our roster, and we'll certainly, you know, on paper, probably have one of the best teams that we've had in a really long time here. Certainly the team to beat in the Big West on paper, and I think we can go pretty far this next year. So, you know, we remain optimistic the year's going to take place, and I know Andy is as well. And, you know, we're looking forward to having the opportunity to get back out in the golf course and compete.
Coach Cerulle, we're gonna turn it over to you, and I have to just a quick comment on Coach Wilson's story. That's why I'm a cart guy. I don't carry my bag. That's not a thing. So if the good Lord wanted me to carry the bag, he wouldn't have made a golf cart. So that's why I put that out there. But Coach Cerulle, we'll turn it over to you.
I think two things. I had to change the background, I think, to get into the story that I've got here, and I got better pictures than this, but it kind of gives you the idea of what I'm going to get into. I think first things first. Michael would, I think, also say this: what happens in the van and is said in the van stays in the van.
Yeah.
Those are the experiences when we go out and travel. That's our locker room that we get an opportunity to have some very in-depth conversations about things. So that the student athletes will tell you that the van rides are pretty awesome to get things done. As far as experiences and stories, so we'll go with championship number 2 here behind me. We get into Haley Tigert, who had worked her tail off all year long, and things all of a sudden started to click this spring season for her, and she started to dominate on the golf course, but still hadn't quite put it all together for a win. And it's what she really, 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 really wanted to do. And not only for the team to take care of it, but to individually take care of it as well. And she put herself in position and at the end of the day, got it done. And I'm going to give a lot of thanks to Mackenzie here for walking her through a lot of that round and a lot of that championship to get it done at the end of the day. Now, the year prior, we had won at Strawberry Farms in Irvine, and the players thought it was a great idea to take all of the bottles of water that they had and just completely douse, so to speak, our winning player in Jennifer Yu the year prior to that. Now, we ran out of water very quickly, and it didn't last as long because we wanted to get better pictures sort of thing. So the ingenuity of sticking a T through the top of the bottle lid and keeping the lid on it and using the squirt bottles from one another allowed us to have maximum efficiency to go ahead and make Haley enjoy that championship at that moment for as much as possible for her. There were some great photos that came from it and great memories for everybody. I think you want the funny standpoint of this tournament, the 18th hole there is like this. I mean, it is straight down. And I'm walking with Maria Davis, and Maria had some trouble just beforehand. And we've got her calmed down, and she's a hyper competitor, and she's looking for something to kind of just keep her head in it to finish strong because we needed her to make birdie on the last hole. And I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm walking in regular tennis shoes, and the rough in the shade area on this downhill is pretty wet and slippery still. And I go down right in front of her. But when I went down, I managed to keep my feet and my old baseball slide still readily available. So I go down and I pop right back up. Cam, that's how you teach them, right? It's the pop-up slide, like into second base, and then right back up onto your feet right away. So I slide down the hill and come straight back up like nothing happened and everything's okay. And Maria's face is just, what happened? And I'm like, I'm good. Everything's fine. And it was enough to get her to completely reset what she was doing, what she was thinking, right back engaged to the hole. She knocked it to like 3 feet, made birdie at the end of the round, and everything was fine. But they still talk about how, like, Coach almost died on the way home to the Big West Championship. But I was spry enough to be able to get myself back up and keep us focused on the prize that needed to be done and what's behind me now.
Love that. That's why you got to be a multi-sport athlete, Coach. I like that. Is there, as we're all looking forward to the fall and the spring, are there any events on your schedule that folks can circle and start to look forward to, where they might be able to come out and watch your teams this fall or next spring?
Michael, anything local for you guys?
Let's see. We in the spring right now, probably we're looking at something in Palm Springs, the Prestige. That's probably going to be the closest event to us. That's going to be in, I think it's the first week of no. It's the second week of February. So that's at the PGA West Norman course. Really good track. We'll be in California a fair bit, in Arizona, but that's probably our most local event.
We're just going to keep yeah, it would be. Michael, is Big West going to be out there too?
The Big West will be there as well. That's correct. Yeah, La Quinta Country Club.
We're going to continue to hope and pray that we get all of our season in, including the fall. For those of you looking for an opportunity to get away for a little bit, we're going to host in Las Vegas a couple of times. Labor Day weekend is out at Coyote Springs in kind of the middle of nowhere, Vegas, but it's an absolutely amazing Nicklaus golf course out there. And then the second week of President's Weekend in February, we're going to co-host with UNLV again out at Spanish Trails, and that's kind of our home away from home. They've kind of declared us all as members out there to be able to go out and practice and play. For those of you who want something really close, we are going to go back to Old Ranch the last week of February for the Gold Rush. We've got some amazing teams wanting to come back, and if COVID kind of continues to stay the way that it is right now, a lot of the top teams that are local are going to have to stay local. So we might see a lot of the big boy players in Southern California needing to come play at our event, which would be huge for us to be able to have that advantage of knowing that golf course and having them come to us, I think is huge. And our players are chomping at the bit for that to possibly happen. And we'd encourage and love to have spectators out the last Monday, Tuesday of February. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but that would be the dates of the Gold Rush to come out and watch. We also need some volunteers for scoring that I know some of you on this call have done for us in the past, and it's been amazing. But that's a great place to go out and actually watch us compete, and our players love it. We don't get it very often, and when we get fans to come out and watch us, we tend to rise to the occasion and give you guys a good show.
Perfect. There's a couple spots for you guys to circle on the calendar. Of course, always great to get out to Palm Springs or Vegas. But if you want to stay close to home, we got one coming up at Old Ranch as well. So exciting times coming out there, and those are always fun events out on the golf course. But we're going to start to wrap up here, but I want to give our coaches a chance to say any parting words. And Coach, can you also add in what our viewers and Long Beach faithful can do to help you guys during this time and moving forward? To keep the beach afloat and keep you guys playing and in good shape?
Yeah, I'll just start. I just want to thank everyone. I know it's challenging times right now, but I think at the same time, it's been really amazing to see the level of support, people reaching out, people connecting in different ways. And I think that's encouraging and exciting. And certainly want to thank you, Camden, for having us on here. And it's been fun. You know, to help us out, the Beach Athletic Fund going on there, that's going to help support our student athletes and scholarships. And that's what it's all about, helping these young people have a great experience and the best opportunity to win championships here at Long Beach State.
Yeah, we're grateful to just kind of be around right now and still within the family that athletics is right now, and building this future in crazy times right now. Seems a little challenging, but for me, I'm grateful because it keeps my mind focused on what's really important, and that's these student athletes and this program right now. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I think you're looking for positive things always to be able to hang your hat on and keep the drive and the competitiveness going. These student athletes, when I see them on Zoom calls and when I talk to them and text with them, they drive what I do and make sure that I stay focused and really ready to serve them as best as possible throughout the year, to make them better, to make them what they want to be, and create the person that they want to be when they grow up. For all of you on this call, we're glad that you're here. The last time I spoke, we did a gathering in January. I talked about the people in the city are our advocates. You're the ones that go out and tell our stories as well. And we wear the brand, and we wear the letters that LB are on here, and we try to represent that to the best of our ability. But you've got a bigger network than we do. And you're out there to go out and tell our stories about what you're hearing and what you're seeing from us. And hopefully it's a positive light. And you're able to share that with other people to get them involved with us. And as we continue to grow and expand, more and more opportunities arise for our student athletes that both Michael and I and all of our coaches here care about so much. So it's that opportunity and that ability to grow and grow together and strengthen ourselves and really unify, right, with what's going on in the world right now, to bring everybody together and see what we can all do when we put our minds together. Boy, yesterday was a big, giant gamut of emotions where my boys and my wife and I are sitting on the couch watching the NASA astronauts come out of the capsule and into the space station. And we're telling our boys, 40 years from now, you're going to talk about this. This is one of the first times this has really ever happened, and how grateful and how awesome it was to have this, call to unity together. And then last night the boys go to bed and all we hear are fireworks and sirens all night long, and turning the news off and just not wanting to see it anymore. We went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, and how we direct what we do and what our feelings are and what we're going to do with these great powers that we've been given. It really dictates a lot about what we're going to do moving forward. So like I said, I'm grateful for this family and I'm grateful for this university, and I just want to see it the best that I possibly can. And you guys are a big part of that.
Well said, Coach. Well said. Thank you all for being here. We're going to wrap up. And as always, if you have any questions for us, please give us a shout. The best way to reach us is either a call or a text on 562-985-4949. We're happy to help you in any way that we can. And we hope to see you guys soon. Have a great week and go Beach.
Go Beach.
Go Beach.